Hello, everybody, and welcome back to UXchange, the podcast where I exchange my user experiences to change them, and yours for the better. I'm Jeremy, a mentor and senior user researcher with over 8 years of experience and a background in neuroscience. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of engaging with hundreds of users around the world, spanning across Europe, the USA, Africa, and India. This has allowed me to deliver actionable insights that have improved user experiences with nutrition, automotive, delivery, and e-commerce sectors. I've created this podcast with the aim of providing my mentorship and educational content, offering actionable tips, knowledge, and guidance in the realm of research, specifically focusing on UX research to anyone having an interest in this area. And I hope that you will find this episode insightful. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to UXchange. I'm very happy to be back after 10 days or more without publishing any episode. I'm sorry if I have not published any episode recently. That is because I went on holidays, and these were really needed holidays. I could disconnect, I could see some friends, I could travel, and I had time to reflect on the future of the podcast. I can already tell you that I will go on with the podcast, publishing about content that really passionates me. So most of all about user experience, because I believe user experience is really at the root of, well, maybe not at the root, but it's really central to our daily lives. So I think it's my duty to share at least what I know, that I try to communicate as much as possible my passion, and that I help you to learn at least one thing, one episode at a time. That's for the first thing. The second thing is that I will try as much as possible to publish more frequently. I cannot overcommit to a certain frequency, but I want to increase the frequency with which I publish new episodes, because hopefully that will help you to learn more and more quickly. So that's for the second thing. And the third thing is basically the topic of this episode. We will kickstart today this first episode that is dedicated to AI and the relationship between AI and user experience, basically. And so I want to adopt several lenses when we look at AI and user experience. I want to look at it through a first lens, which would be how should we expect and design for a world with AI, first of all. And I want to cover that first because, in my opinion, it's more important than the other well-expected angle through which I will approach AI, which is how can we use AI to improve user experiences. It's more important, and I will dive into it later, because whether we want it or not, AI is here to stay. So we might as well design for it rather than use it first, as a mindset, I mean. Of course, we should use it now that it's here to stay, and if you want to stay competitive. I really like this topic because it's really philosophical in essence. So we should use it. Then to what extent, I will also cover but we should use it to the best of our abilities, basically. I will also cover things such as how to use AI responsibly, and as I was saying, the well-expected. I say well-expected because it's oftentimes what we think about when we think about AI is how can I use it in my day-to-day? Or really related topics such as, will my job disappear? Will I be substituted by AI? I will also cover these things. It's all related to, should I use AI and how should I use it? And so this is the goal of this series. It's not to scare you. It's most of all, as any other episode in this podcast, to try to communicate what I know, what I like, and to help you learn in a quicker way than reading a lot of articles or books, or maybe just reflect with me as you're listening to the episode. So let's dive right in. So first of all, what do I think AI is, and why do I think that it's here to stay, and why do I think that we should continue to use it? So basically, in my opinion, what AI is, and I say in my opinion, it's not my intention to really read a definition, textbook definition, and to be super precise about this. For this episode, I really want, paradoxically, to be human and to try to define it from my perspective and from my understanding. So AI, for me, would be a field of study, of course, but it's also the way that we could have an intelligence that is not human per se, so that it's artificial, of course. That's hence the name, artificial intelligence. But that means that it's a system or set of systems or technology that is capable of performing tasks that are usually performed by humans. And this is really vague as a definition. I know, probably you're not learning anything, but it's really difficult for me to come up with a better definition right now. And I didn't even want to try, because every term in this definition is really philosophical in essence and is really difficult to determine, to define, let's say. So, intelligence. What is intelligence? What is artificial? We could even argue that intelligence is only human. Well, no. As long as you have an input, sensors, and let's say an action system, then you can behave according to a set of inputs. And you can also sneak in between motivation and emotion, so that we could define all of that system as an intelligent system. So something that behaves towards a goal, but which behavior is highly determined by a set of rules, motivations, emotions, and the like. And so I would say, to be really broad again, that it could also be a set of actions that is traditionally performed by a human, and that approaches as much as possible human cognition, human behavior, and human actions. And so with that definition, we could easily understand and easily, let's say, conceptualize the fact that probably, as you know by now, maybe you're familiar, or for sure you're familiar, we have large language models that have been, let's say, released some time ago, such as ChatGPT, Claude.ai, and the like. We have Gemini from Google and the like. And so these large language models, for instance, are able to, let's say, answer questions in a surprisingly human way, of course. And so they can perform some actions such as summarizing, synthesizing, but also way more actions. They can provide some directions. They can enhance your creativity, your ideation process, and the like. So with that super broad definition, my goal with this episode is at least to tell you how I use AI in my daily life, what I think about this, why what do I think about its growing role when it comes to user experience, and what should we do about this. So let's start. Basically, why is AI here to stay? Well, as everything on planet Earth and with human civilization, we want to thrive. So we want to increase efficiency, we want to solve problems, we want to ease our pains, and that's why user experience is so important, in my opinion, because it's reflecting, in my opinion, really a lot how humans work in general, which is I have a pain, I want to solve it, and I come up with a solution, basically. This is how the world works. However, the world is really organized in a efficiency and productivity fashion, at least from a technological standpoint, in my opinion. And so, as long as we can automate things, as long as we can make things that are cumbersome, lengthy, and repetitive, these things will tend to be automated. And so AI is performing that surprisingly well. If you want to summarize something, if you want to copy a lot of content to somewhere else at once and iterating through it, for instance, if you want to generate quickly a lot of ideas, and so on and so forth, AI is here for that. And so, as everything that we had for now, AI is a good example of efficiency, and in my opinion, is here to stay, basically. So, what does that mean for user experience and user experience design and user experience research? So, you may have already heard the sentence saying, AI will not take your job, but a person using AI will. I tend to agree with that statement. If you don't use AI, let's say, or at least if you don't try to learn it, you may as well, in a world that is increasingly competitive and seeking efficiency on a day-to-day basis, you will compete with, let's say, people, organizations, or systems that use it. And so that will significantly accelerate their process, whereas you will not. So if you don't use some tools that make you more efficient, you basically lose competitiveness. So that's why I believe that we should learn how to use AI. We should learn to master it. However, of course, there are responsible use of AI, especially when it comes to user experience. I will come to that, but I think that we should start with the mindset that if AI is here, this technology is here, we need to learn to master it. We need at least to learn what it is, how it works, how we can use it, how to be responsible with it, and so on and so forth. So then, when it comes to user experience design, I would say, what is the future of UX and what is the future of AI? But to answer that question, I would first think about what is user experience and what is artificial intelligence. So I already covered more or less what artificial intelligence is, in my opinion. But what I most know about is user experience. So user experience is everything a user is experiencing before, during, and after the interaction with a product, a system, a service. And so once we know that, we can have in mind the mapping of all that experience. And this is the experience the user goes through. But you can also conceptualize this in terms of the different steps that the user experience design process go through to design a product, an experience, a service for a user. And then you can start to think about, where does AI fit in this process and where does it not fit? So to be really straight to the point and in a nutshell, I can tell you, we as humans will always experience problems. There will always be problems to solve. That is the human nature. This will not disappear. There will always be problems. It's impossible to live in a world without problems. So, that being said, the mindset is, how can I solve those problems? And it's really that, I want to communicate that in this episode. It's really about, how can I solve the problems? But before that, what is the problem? And so, whatever the artificial intelligence is, however developed it is, however intelligent it is, you need to identify a problem and you need to solve the right problem. And so, as it is right now, the state of things, I cannot say for in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I cannot say. But as it is right now, we still need humans to identify and prioritize problems to be solved. And so, once you know that, in my opinion, this is the crucial skill for a user experience professional or startup founder or an innovation specialist or whatever. So we need to have that in mind. It's not because we have great tools such as artificial intelligence that we should blindly think, oh yeah, I could make this or I could make that, and then sell that to 1,000 people and expect to earn a lot of money. In my opinion, that's not how it works. And we can see that it has already been the case with, let's say, digitization in the past decades. It's not because we know that something could be done, that it should be done. So once you know that, focus your efforts on identifying problems. And of course, you can use AI for that. We can use AI all the way. We can use AI to identify and to solve problems. So that's the main use, an intelligent use of AI, not just using a tool for the sake of using it and producing something that people do not want. For instance, apps are a great example. I don't remember exactly the statistic, but I read the other day that a staggering number of apps in the App Store are never used because they are made because it can be made, but the creators don't think about if it's really needed. Maybe you solve your own pain and that's good, but the point is really to adopt a mindset of identifying a problem. The problem is 95% of the solution. If you identify the problem, you will know what the solution should be, or at least what could be a set of potential solutions, and then you test them, and then you prioritize them, and then you choose them, and then you develop them. So that's really it. For me, the point of this episode is really to tell you that it's not because AI is here that it changes so much, at least right now, the process. You still need to identify a user problem and solve it. And you can use AI along the way to help you, but the process is still the same. And then I really want to make a focus on another point. Right now, at least in my perception, but I would really, really love to hear your reactions and to read your comments. In my perception, I still feel when I talk to AI that it could use more empathy. It tries and it's good, but it lacks empathy right now, like real human empathy. Um, so, what makes us human, among other things, is empathy, real empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is the fact of experiencing an emotion that the person you're talking to or hearing about or whatever is experiencing as if it was your own. I speak to my neighbor and she's telling me that her dog passed away, and I'm really I see her sad and I'm sad as well. I'm really experiencing that. That is empathy. And right now, I'm not sure AI feels empathy. However, this is the core of user experience. Empathy. It's really about being empathetic when it comes to our end users' problems, expectations, and needs. What do my user needs, sorry. What does my user need, sorry? And why? And how can I help? Really, my user is frustrated because he or she is not able to book a flight because the platform is not user friendly. Well, that annoys me as much as he or she is, basically. And so this is because I can feel that pain as if it was my own, that I will do everything I can to solve that issue. And that we will assemble as a team that, by the way, is also made of several human beings that all feel empathy one for another, that we can all together make great products, basically. So that is something that right now, at least, who knows in future decades, but right now that we cannot see with AI. So this is still something, and in my opinion, this is here to stay, basically. What makes us human will be increasingly more and more important, basically. So everything about soft skills, relating one to another, skills such as negotiation, persuasion, maybe team management, and the like, are essential skills to build. So my point with this episode is at least to tell you that yes, AI is here to stay, but it doesn't, at least for now, disrupt the process of coming up with a great product. And it doesn't prevent you from being empathetic with your user. So, but now that we know that, what's about the current state of UX design when it comes with to AI? Well, basically, AI helps you to accelerate each and every task of the process, and this is good. Because who wants to do repetitive tasks when they can be automated? However, be responsible about this. So, in the next episode, I will cover how should we design for artificial intelligence. And the episode right after, I will cover topics such as how to use artificial intelligence in your UX design and UX research process. So expect things such as, basically in a nutshell, that good practices that we know in terms of UX design still apply when it comes to artificial intelligence, but also that we will have different mental models because we're not used to interact with artificial intelligence. At least this is fairly new compared to other paradigms of interaction. That's for the first part. Then, how to use artificial intelligence in your day-to-day life. Basically, identify what is annoying, what is what is that you have to repeat a lot of times with not much added value, basically. Use it when you have a doubt, when you have questions, but use it responsibly, asking yourself if the source is really of trust. Use it at different stages of the process. Use it to confirm your choices. Use it as a buddy or as a partner to give you feedback. Use it to expand on an idea and so on and so forth. I will cover all of these topics. I really wanted to provide an introduction to the topic without being an expert in the artificial intelligence world. I don't claim to be, and you know by now that my passion is user experience, and I'm more passionate about users than about machines. However, I know that machines are here to stay, and so that's why I wanted to make this episode about AI and this series about AI, and hopefully you learn at least something along the way. So I really want to thank you for listening and tuning in every time for every new episode. If you like the show and you haven't subscribed yet, do so. I highly appreciate that, and that helps me moving forward. Thanks a lot. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you everyone for joining me today on New Exchange. I hope you found today's episode insightful and valuable. Make sure to subscribe in order for you not to miss the next episode. Share it if you liked it, and leave a review. Thank you for your time and attention. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future topics, feel free to reach out directly to me. You can find all the details in the show notes. And see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Yeah.